What is going on, y'all? This is your boy Saint Irving, and today we got our man-child Shunsui Kyuraku. Listen, when I tell you, I thought he was cool, I thought he was chill, but this is taking it to another level. His kit is amazing. I'm going to be breaking down everything that I've learned so far, including his battle data, but first...
Run that shit back!
Shunsui is a character who excels in close-range combat. His special flash attack is easy to use, allowing him to close in the distance from a long range in one go. In addition, his unique attacks that combine offense and defense are useful for seizing the initiative in close-range sword fighting. After the release of his Shikai Katen Kyokotsu, the outcome of the child play battle, which has special rules, determines the outcomes of the battle. He wants to impose the rules on an unfamiliar opponent and defeat them before they get a chance to respond. This is helpful in the fact that he's also a very balanced character. So when you look at his battle data, it's an attack of a 3. You see that his range is also a 3. And what also helps here is that his durability is a 4. Now, when you look at his range, yes, it is a 2. And his techniques are a 4. But all of this makes perfect sense when you really look at him. I'm going to be breaking him down, but first we're going to go over his techniques. Keep in mind his ease of use is a 3-star, so he's a 3-star character. It makes a lot of sense when you look at all of his movesets. So take a look. When we look at your signature move, it's called Drainer, and it says it rotates your body and attacks with 2 swords. Holding the input will increase the number of attacks. It looks like it has a slow startup, but the more attacks that you do, the more advantageous it is. The drawback is that you have to hold it, which means you have to likely stand in a certain stance for a certain period of time, which can mean that you are vulnerable. With your spiritual pressure technique 1, lazy spinning top, or bushogama, it attacks by sending wind pressure towards the opponent. In addition to making up for the lack of long-range attack methods, it is also possible to launch a quick attack while releasing wind pressure. So essentially, you don't have many long-range attacks, but this makes up for it, giving you a projectile that can go a long distance. This is likely also his spiritual technique that only involves 50 points of spiritual gauge, whereas his second technique is likely to be about 100. With his spiritual pressure technique 2, Don't Panic, it instantly moves in front of the opponent and rushes in with 2 swords. You can close the distance in one go and deal a lot of damage, so it's easy to take advantage of an opportunity when the opponent shows an opening. You instantly move in front of the opponent and rush in with 2 swords. You can close in the distance in one go and do a lot of damage, so it's easy to take advantage of an opportunity when the opponent shows an opening. It seems that there may not be a limit the way it says in one go, and so it's very possible it could be very much like a flash step that allows you to step right in front of them, appearing right at them, which can be very advantageous for many reasons, but it's basically an extra flash step with some damage, which is great, as long as they don't block. I'm wondering what the startup is, but since spiritual techniques tend to be instantaneous and have a moment where everything stops, it's likely that it's going to be very advantageous to do it as soon as you see them doing something that is punishable. When it comes to your awakening, that is when your Shikai Katen Kyokotsu is able to unleash her child games. With child play, you'll be able to set a certain amount of rules at regular intervals. So there'll be some special rules that will apply, and depending on the outcome of the child play, various effects will be activated, such as damage received or ability increases. So we're going to be breaking down what the 3 games you could possibly be in. The first is called Demon Game, then we have Take Camp, and then last is Quick Skill Competition. And these will occur at regular intervals. While the effect is active, the competition will be conducted under special rules. Demon Game. A demon is randomly selected. What I believe this means, since again, keep in mind this is rough translations in Japanese, but I did read these over and got a general sense of what these should be. So, follow me. With Demon Game, a demon is randomly selected, which in my interpretation means it will be put upon either the opponent or yourself, and that will be randomly selected. When the demon, which is similar to like a separate character, kind of like Nemu, for example, when the demon hits an attack, the demon will then be transferred over to the other party. The child play will end after a certain amount of time has passed, or if the demon has attacked multiple times. While the effect is active, all attacks will not cause spiritual damage, but all damage accumulated at the end of child play will be given to the last demon. What this means to me is essentially you're not getting any damage done to your reishi, so your health bar isn't taking any damage during Demon Game. All the damage that you would have done for any attacks that hit the enemy are being accumulated into the demon. Whoever ends up with the demon last ends up with all the damage. This is similar to what I would think of as hot potato. Essentially, whoever's holding the potato last is the one getting burned. So you don't want to be the last one holding the potato. You don't want to be the last one holding the demon. So you'll want to accumulate damage. You can throw as much damage as you want, but you have to make sure by the end of the game that demon is not on you. That's basically how you win the game. And then all that damage is stacked onto your opponent and you win. With Take Camp, a camp will appear in the camp capture field for a certain amount of time. Spiritual particles will decrease while the opponent is outside of the range of the camp. The way I interpret this is that there will be an area in which you have to stand in. During that time, if you're outside of that area, your health will decrease. Essentially, it will be for a certain amount of time. You're going to essentially have to fight in a certain area, and if you move outside of that area, well, you're then also dying. So it really makes it to where it's a fair fight. Whoever can stand in the circle essentially gets to keep their life. And whoever cannot will find themselves slowly dying. It's a very interesting game, and we'll elaborate on all of these further. With the last one, Quick Skill Competition, the first side to hit an attack after the signal to start the Quick Skill Competition is given will be the winner. That's a mouthful, and it also says the winning side will gain an attack power increase effect until the next child play begins. If the attack hits before the signal to start is given, the opponent will lose. This is the equivalent of what I would call red light, green light. If you start and hit an attack before the signal is given, let's say if it was red, you're the loser. But if at the start when it shows green, you are the first to get a strike in, you're the winner. So red light, green light is the same thing as Quick Skill Competition. Basically, you want to make sure at the moment you get the signal that, hey, you can go, you're on them immediately. So here's the cool thing. With Shunsui, his moveset makes it to where he has slight advantages here. One, he's very balanced. Now, when you look at his parameters, while he is a close range fighter, he has abilities that allow him to throw a projectile and close in the distance. So distance is never really a problem for him. He can always be right next to you. He can always just pop in right in front of you and deal some damage if he has enough spiritual power. Because he has great durability and average strength, if he gets a buff from his child play, he's then even stronger. As long as he can keep himself inside camp, he won't take any damage. And because he can pop in, if the enemy is in camp, he can just pop in the enemy's location. And then suddenly, boom, he's fine. He has so much versatility to him that you can play him in so many different ways. And also, because even he doesn't get to decide the way that he plays his children's play, he can't decide which game is going to be played next. He just has to be ready. So it's going to make some crazy mashups, and it just creates such an awesome dynamic. They really went lore accurate with everyone, but this is one of the best interpretations I've seen of a character. Let me know what you think down below, but I mean, this is just stupid good. Like, wow. So yeah, I mean, the way I'm imagining him is that because of his movesets, he can even probably push someone away with Bushogama when you're playing camp. So let's say you're playing camp and you have to be in a certain area. Well, hey, I'm gonna push you away or to keep you away, and you can either take the damage from the Bushogama, or you can stay out of camp, and there you're also dealing damage. So there's so many ways to play the game, but your movesets work perfectly with the games that you play. And it's something that reminds me of something Lily Barrow said in Thousand Year Blood War, where he says, well, in a sense, he kind of illuminates the fact that Shunsui, although is also a subject of his games, his ability to know his games and also basically use his own movesets to gain abilities. Like, for example, during one of his games, he can see the reishi of his opponent in order to help find them. And so it's a slight advantage, and it's like, oh, well, you know, it's kind of like cheating. It's like, well, no, I just, my moves are kind of tailored to that, you know? And so it's just a funny lore thing. But yeah, no, this is great. This is great. He's very basic, but also creative. He's got some child play games that he has. He is also a subject of them. So if your opponent is more versed, and it doesn't even hurt the fact that your opponent will know the game, it just means that you have to be a little bit more creative and, you know, maybe outsmart them. It's just like the manga in the source material. He still has to tell his opponent the game. And so knowing the game means nothing. It's really about how you play the game. And ironically, that's a double meaning there, because it's how you play the actual console game and also how you play the game that he has set during that time. So ironies on ironies. But yeah, I'm excited. I didn't think I was really gonna play Shunsui, although he's awesome. I didn't think he was gonna be for me, but this changes everything. And I feel like I'm starting to say that every single week now, because they had, you know, Zayalaparo last week, and boy, he's awesome. So I'm really not trying to glaze here, but I'm stoked. That's all I'm gonna say. But you guys let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This has been your boy Saint Irving, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.